Welcome to day 12. Today we're going to be reviewing for our test. The only homework is to study for the test. I strongly suggest going on to Schoology and doing the extra test practice on there. And then you've got the answer key on the link after that on Schoology. That is your homework. You should be preparing for the test. You should not just be doing nothing between this period and when you walk in for the test. So from yesterday, we worked with exterior angles. We saw exterior angles always added up to 360. So 360 divided by our number of sides equals our exterior angle. Remember, the interior and exterior angle will always be supplementary. So in each case, we do 360 divided by the number of sides to give us that exterior angle. Make sure it's clear you label which one is exterior and which one's interior. And then do 180 minus that exterior angle to get the interior angle. So we'll leave this up for a few seconds for you to check your 4 answers there. The sub will be coming around to collect your pink problem set if you have not turned that in yet. So please make sure to have that ready to hand to them now. For number 2, they gave us an exterior angle, so do 180 minus that to get the interior angle. So that's that first 108 there. And then put the exterior angle they gave us in the capital E spot. So we'll have 360 divided by n equals that exterior angle. We'll cross multiply and solve, and we get 5 sides for the first one. And B, find your supplement, which was 144 for the interior angle, and 360 over n is equal to the exterior angle of 36. Cross multiply, you get 10 sides for that one. Now for this one, we are similar type problem as the last one, but we're starting from an interior. So do 180 minus to get the exterior angle of 18. And now you can just do 360 over n equals that new exterior angle, 18, cross multiply, and get your number of sides. So we get 20 for A and 12 for B. And what's the sum of the measure of the exterior angles for a 52-agon? Well, remember the exterior angles always in a polygon add up to 360. All right, we're going to need calculators out. And this should be the next page in your packets, the review pages. And this should be on page 70. If you need a calculator, you can ask the sub for one. They're in my top left drawer. Just make sure to give it back at the end of the period. All right, so in this picture, we've got a lot going on. We've got an altitude, an angle bisector, and a median, all shown in this picture. I would strongly suggest for a problem like this, and I'd like you to do this now, we're going to redraw our picture 3 times. So what I want you to do is draw 3 versions of triangle AFE on your paper. So there's one of them. Here's a second version. And again, please be doing this on your paper as well. We want 3 versions of triangle AFE. So in the first triangle, we're going to draw in FB. So draw in kind of what it looks like in the original picture and label it FB. In the second triangle, we're going to draw in FC. So draw in roughly what it looks like, make it FC. And the last one, we'll draw in FD. So this question requires you to know what each of our different segments do and what they look like in the picture. FB is an altitude. An altitude goes from the vertex and is perpendicular, or in other words, forms a right angle with the other side. So let's put a box in at B in our first picture. FC is an angle bisector. An angle bisector cuts an original angle in half, giving us two congruent angles. So up at F, it should get split into two congruent angles. So let's put an arc on each of those. And then the last one, the median, goes to the midpoint. We represent a midpoint in our picture by putting tick marks. So let's put tick marks on AD and DE. All right, so the first one we want congruent angles. So we're just looking from our markings, where do we have some congruent angles? Congruent angles are shown with our arcs. So our two congruent angles are going to be these two in our middle picture. We name angles with 3 letters. So here is our first angle. We need to name that with 3 letters, making sure the vertex, or in other words, the point of the angle, is the middle letter. So I'm going to call it angle AFC. It's important to put the angle symbol in front. You could have also called it angle CFA, that would have been fine. And then our other angle would be this one here. So 3 letters, F has to be the middle letter. So you could either call it angle CFE, which is what I'm going to call it, or you could call it angle EFC. Next, we need a pair of congruent segments. Segments are congruent when shown with the tick marks. So we'll just take our 2 segments that have the tick marks. So we're going to have AD, put your little segment symbol above it, and DE with the segment symbol above. You can reverse the letters in those if you want. Order of the letters doesn't matter for segments. And then I'll put over here our answer for C, perpendicular line segments. Well, remember, the symbol for perpendicular lines looks like this. So our perpendicular segments should look like that as well. So here is our altitude. There's our other segment. So those 2 I just traced in yellow should be our perpendicular ones. So we've got FB as one of the perpendicular segments, and the other one is AE. Again, I strongly suggest in a picture like this to draw 3 separate triangles and draw each of those segments separately. It's much easier to mark up that way. All right, next up, we've got a perpendicular bisector. This point at the top here is the same distance from our endpoints, because any point on the perpendicular bisector will be the same distance from each of the endpoints of the original segment. So we'll just set those equal. And we'll go through and solve. So we're going to get everything on one side. I'm going to start by, or sorry, not everything on one side. We're going to get the y's on one side, non-y's on the other. So we'll start by subtracting the 2y over. That gives us 2y minus 4 equals 30. We'll add the 4 over. We get 2y equals 34. And we'll divide by 2, and we get y equals 17. Always reread the question, see if we need to sub back in. In this case, we just wanted to find y, so we're all set. All right, going on to number 3, we've got M and N are midpoints. So that means we can put tick marks on those 2. We can put tick marks on these 2. If midpoints are being connected, that's a mid-segment. This is our first thing that we looked at. Well, they told us in the question that MN is 42. And because we have 2 variables, we're going to have to set up 2 equations. So to start out, let's do that 3x plus 2y plus 19 equals 42. Well, the other property we have with mid-segments is the mid-segment is half of the side it's parallel to. Or in other words, we could double the mid-segment, and it'll give us that third side. So if we double 42, that gives us 84, and that can give us a second equation. You also could have just doubled the expression for MN and set it equal to side LO. All right, now we need to get it in elimination form. That's with x and y on the left, constants on the right. So I'm going to start by subtracting the 19 over. That'll give us 3x plus 2y equals, we should get 23. And then I'll subtract the 20 over in the other equation, and that gives us negative 2x plus 10y equals 64. From there, we're going to write our two equations right above each other so that we'll be set up to do elimination. And I'm maybe going to get the y's to match up. We've already got a 10y, so I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 5 because we want same number but different signs. So we'll have negative 15x minus 10y equals negative 115. And we'll copy down the rest. If we add these together, we're going to get negative 17x. The y's wipe out. And we're going to get a negative 51 when we add the right side together. If we divide by negative 17, we end up getting x equals 3. From there, we can sub into either of our equations that had x and y. I'm just going to go with the blue one on the left here. So we'll have negative 2 times 3 plus 10y equals 64. So that's negative 6 plus 10y equals 64. Add the 6 over, we get 10y equals 70. And when you divide by 10, you get y equals 7. If we double check the question, that's all we wanted to find was x and y. All right, we'll give you a minute to read through question 4. So if QT is an angle bisector, we know it makes two congruent parts. They tell us RQT, this part, is 8x plus 3y minus 2. And they told us SQT, this other part, is 3x minus 2y plus 8. Notice we have two variables, so we need two equations. Well, for starters, we've got those angles marked congruent, so let's make them equal to each other. So we'll have 8x plus 3y minus 2 equals 3x minus 2y plus 8. If you are a point on the angle bisector, which T is, we learned this unit that that's the same distance from the sides of the angles. So we're also guaranteed that those two segments are the same. So that'll give us a second equation. 7x minus 3y minus 20 is equal to x plus y plus 12. And we'll again get these in elimination form by getting the x's and y's over on the left, the constants over on the right. So I'm going to subtract my 3x over to give us 5x plus 3y minus 2 equals negative 2y plus 8. I'm going to add the 2y over to give us 5x plus 5y minus 2 equals 8. And I'll add the 2 over to give us 5x plus 5y equals 10. We'll leave that equation be for the moment. Over in the other one, I'm going to subtract my x over and also subtract my y over to give us 6x minus 4y minus 20 equals 12. Add the 20 over, we get 6x minus 4y equals 32. And now we got both equations in elimination form, so we'll just write them above each other. And I'm going to go ahead and get the y's to match up. So maybe we'll target 20 and negative 20. So I'll multiply the top equation by 4 and the bottom equation by 5. So that'll give us 20x plus 20y equals 40. And we'll have 30x minus 20y equals 160. We'll add our equations together. The y's will wipe out. So we'll have 50x equals 200. Divide by 50. And we get that x is equal to 4. Now you can plug that into any equation that has x and y. Equation meaning it has an equal sign. I'm going to just go with that red one. So we'll have 4 subbed in for x. That'll give us 24 minus 4y equals 32. We'll do opposite operations and subtract the 24 over. So minus 4y equals 8. And we'll divide by negative 4 to get y equals negative 2. If we reread the question, all we wanted was x and y, so we are in good shape. Moving on to the next one. This is what we saw a few days ago in our triangle inequality. If two sides are 2 and 7, what could the third side be? Well, first let's set up our inequality. To get our lower bound, just subtract the two sides. 7 minus 2 is 5. So that's less than the third side, which would be less than whatever we get when we add those two sides. 2 and 7 gives us 9. Now notice these are not equal to's. So you got to be bigger than 5, but less than 9. So the only one here that is bigger than 5 but less than 9 would be the 7. I'll give you a minute to read through 6. All right, we got a median. So medians, they get split into a 1-to-2 ratio by the centroid. They told us that CF, the whole thing here, which we should label with a bracket, is 54. And we eventually want to find FG. Well, if they only give you the big part, pick a variable that's not in the problem. Our problem does not have x in it. Label the small side x, and the big part has to be double that, so 2x. And now we can just set up a little equation. X plus 2x is 54. That's 3x equals 54. And if we divide by 3, that's just x equals 18. Well, we want to find FG. FG is just what x was. So we'll just get 18 for FG. All right, next one, we've got a triangle NYC. We're going to draw and label our triangle. So draw yourself a random triangle, and we're going to label our vertices. Vertices are labeled with capital letters. It does not matter where you put the N, the Y, and the C. You're just going around in a circle, and then you're going to label them accordingly after that. We'll label our angles they told us, 45 and 70 for y. And notice our choices are asking about longest side. So we saw the other day, the big idea is small angle is across from small side, medium angle is across from medium side, and large angle is across from the large side. So we can't figure out which one is the largest until we know that third angle. So if we add the 70 and the 45 together, we'll get 115. If we do 180 minus 115, that's going to give us 65. So our largest side will be across from the largest angle. So therefore, NC has to be the largest side. If they'd asked for it, the medium would have been NY, and the smallest would have been YC. It's not on our on our review sheet, but just a quick reminder of our silly phrases that we have. We had apple orchard. That was to help remind us that altitude crosses at the orthocenter. We had a big insect. So the A and the B, we wanted to think angle bisector, and the in, we wanted to think in center. We had Miley Cyrus. I don't know if I spelled Miley right, but anyway, MC, median centroid. And then the last one, we had peanut butter, chocolate chip. So the PB, we wanted to think perpendicular bisector, the CC, circumcenter. Remember, we have a chart with these in our packet. That's something you want to make sure you study for the test. All right, moving on to number 8. We have a triangle and we have an exterior angle. On the same day that we learned about small side across from small angle and so forth, we saw an exterior angle in the triangle is always equal to the two interior angles that are not right next to it. So that 6x minus 30 is going to equal the sum of those two interior angles not next to it. So the 3x plus the x plus 20. If we combine like terms, that's 6x minus 30 equals 4x plus 20. I'm going to get my x's over on the left. So that's 2x minus 30 equals 20. And that's 2x equals 50. Divide by 2, you get x is 25. If we reread the question, though, we want angle B, and angle B was 3x. So 3 times 25 gives us that angle B is actually 75 degrees. All right, moving on to 9. We've got an interior angles 156. We want to know how many sides. So the easiest way to do this is work with what we did last class, that 360 divided by the number of sides equals our exterior angle. Remember also that an interior angle, which we have right here, will always be supplementary to your exterior angle, which is formed by just extending one of the sides. So if we do 180 minus the 56, that'll give us 24. We'll now do our 360 divided by n, which is our number of sides, equals that 24. We'll put 24 over 1, and we'll cross multiply. We get 24n equals 360. And we'll divide both sides by 24. And we should get n equals 15 sides. And the last review one we'll look at, so we've got a heptagon, we've got all the angles in it with those different expressions and numbers, and we want to find x. So heptagon is 7 sides. You want to re-look through your names of your polygons on the test. If you're unsure of it, you will not be able to ask me how many sides it has. So we have, on the day that we worked with these, we wrote out each of the main ones that you want to know. So our formula to find the sum of the interior angles was n minus 2 times 180. So in this case, we'll have 7 minus 2 times 180, which is really just 5 times 180. And that'll give us 900. So we'll just do 900 equals all of these added up. So you have an option. You can add them all up and show that, or if you want to just show the simplified form, you could do that too. I'm going to show them all added up first, and then we'll combine our like terms. So we'll have 900 equals, if we add up all of our x's, 3x and 6x gives us 9x. One more x is 10x. Plus 2x is 12x. Plus 5x is 17x. Plus 3x is 20x. And then if we add up all our constants, 25 minus 26 is -1. Plus the 60 is 59. Plus the 45 is 104. Plus the 25 is 129. Plus the 17 is 146, I think. No, actually, I messed that up. That's not a 17, that's a 171. So this should give us 300 then when we add that up. If we subtract the 300 over, we get 600 equals 20x. And if we divide by 20, we'll just get 30 for x. And reread the question. We just wanted to find x, so we are all set. All right, that's it for this video. Any time left in the period, you can do one of two things. You can study from your packet, or if you want to take out your Chromebook and start working on the extra Schoology review, you could do that as well. You should be doing the extra Schoology review sometime between now and the test. Have a great rest of your day.